Canada PR Eligibility Criteria Update. Check now. Today we are going to talk in detail about the latest updates in Canada's permanent residency eligibility criteria. And if you are someone who has been planning to move to Canada for a better future, higher quality of life, or more career opportunities, then this is something you absolutely need to understand because immigration rules change frequently and even small updates can affect your chances significantly. So let's break everything down, step by step in a very clear and practical way so you can assess your own eligibility and plan accordingly without confusion. First of all, Canada offers permanent residency through multiple immigration pathways, and the most popular one remains the Express Entry system, which includes three major programs: Federal Skilled Worker Program, Federal Skilled Trades Program, and Canadian Experience Class. Now, according to the most recent updates, the eligibility criteria under these programs have seen some adjustments, especially in terms of CRS scores, category-based draws, and priority occupations. So understanding these changes is extremely important. Starting with the Federal Skilled Worker Program, candidates are still required to score at least 67 points out of 100 on the selection grid, which includes factors like age, education, work experience, language ability, and adaptability. However, what has changed is how candidates are being prioritized once they enter the Express Entry pool. Previously, draws were mostly general, but now Canada has introduced category-based draws targeting specific sectors such as healthcare, STEM fields, trades, transport, and agriculture, which means if your occupation falls under these categories, your chances of receiving an invitation to apply have significantly increased, even if your CRS score is slightly lower than the general cutoff. Moving forward, let's talk about CRS score, which stands for Comprehensive Ranking System and is the most critical factor in determining your selection under Express Entry. The maximum score is 1,200, and it is calculated based on core human capital factors, spouse factors, skill transferability, and additional points such as provincial nomination or job offer. Recent updates show that CRS cutoffs have fluctuated due to targeted draws, and many candidates with scores between 470 to 520 have received invitations depending on the category. So if your score is below this range, you should consider improving it through better language scores, higher education credentials, or gaining more work experience. Now, language proficiency is another major factor, and Canada accepts IELTS and CELPIP for English and TEF for French. Recent updates indicate that bilingual candidates, especially those with strong French skills, are being given additional advantages through dedicated draws. So if you can learn French and score well, it can significantly boost your chances. Next comes education, where having a Canadian degree or an educational credential assessment from a recognized organization is mandatory for foreign degrees. Higher education such as master's or PhD will give you more CRS points. And certain professional degrees are also highly valued depending on the labor market demand. Now let's discuss work experience, which must be relevant, skilled, and preferably in occupations listed under NOC-TER categories 0, 1, 2, or 3. The more years of experience you have, the better your CRS score. But it must be continuous and properly documented. Another important update is regarding proof of funds. Candidates applying under Federal Skilled Worker Program and Federal Skilled Trades Program must show sufficient funds to support themselves and their family unless they have a valid job offer in Canada. The required amount changes annually based on family size, so always check the latest figures before applying. Now coming to provincial nominee programs, or PNPs, which have become increasingly important in recent years. Each province in Canada has its own immigration streams targeting specific skills and occupations needed in that region. If you receive a provincial nomination, you get an additional 600 CRS points, which almost guarantees an invitation to apply. Recent updates show that provinces are actively inviting candidates in healthcare, IT, construction, and education sectors. So researching province-specific requirements can be a game changer for your application. Another pathway is the Canadian Experience Class, which is ideal for those who already have work experience in Canada. The eligibility criteria include at least 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada within the last 3 years, along with required language proficiency. Recent changes indicate that Canada is prioritizing candidates with Canadian experience as they are more likely to integrate quickly into the workforce. Now let's talk about age factor because it plays a significant role in your CRS score. Candidates between 20 to 29 years receive maximum points, and after 30 points gradually decrease. So if you are planning to apply, it is always better to do it sooner rather than later. However, even if you are above 35 or 40, you can still improve your chances through other factors like higher education, strong language scores, or a provincial nomination. Moving on to job offers. While not mandatory for express entry, having a valid job offer supported by LMI can give you additional points and improve your chances significantly. Recent trends show that job offers in high-demand sectors are being prioritized more actively. Now, one of the biggest updates in Canada PR eligibility is the introduction of category-based selection, which means instead of only focusing on CRS scores, Canada is now selecting candidates based on labor market needs. For example, if there is a shortage of nurses or software engineers, candidates with those occupations may receive invitations even with lower CRS scores. This is a major shift in policy and opens doors for many applicants who previously struggled due to high cutoffs. Another important factor is adaptability, which includes having relatives in Canada, previous study or work experience in Canada, or a spouse with good language skills. These factors can add extra points and strengthen your profile. Now let's discuss documentation, because incomplete or incorrect documentation can lead to rejection even if you meet all eligibility criteria. You need to provide valid passports, educational documents, language test results, work experience letters, proof of funds, and police clearance certificates. Medical exams are also required to ensure you meet health standards. Recent updates emphasize stricter verification processes, so accuracy and honesty are crucial. Another key update is regarding processing times, which have improved in many cases, but can still vary depending on application volume and program type. Express entry applications are typically processed within 6 months after submission, but delays can occur if additional documents are requested. Now let's talk about family sponsorship as another pathway to PR, where Canadian citizens or permanent residents can sponsor their spouse, children, or parents. Eligibility criteria for sponsors include financial stability and meeting minimum income requirements. Recent updates have made some adjustments to quotas and processing timelines for family sponsorship programs. Now, for students and temporary workers in Canada, there are also pathways to transition to PR through programs like post-graduation work permit and Canadian Experience Class. Recent policies are encouraging international graduates to stay and contribute to the economy. Now, one important thing to understand is that immigration policies are dynamic and subject to change based on economic conditions and government priorities. So staying updated through official sources is essential. Many applicants make the mistake of relying on outdated information, which can negatively impact their application. Another tip is to create a strong express entry profile by accurately filling all details and updating it regularly, especially if you improve your language scores or gain more experience. Also consider consulting a licensed immigration consultant if your case is complex. Now let's quickly summarize the key points so you have a clear understanding. Canada PR eligibility depends on factors like age, education, work experience, language proficiency, CRS score, and adaptability. Recent updates include category-based draws targeting specific occupations, fluctuating CRS cutoffs, increased importance of French language skills, and stronger role of provincial nominee programs. If you align your profile with these priorities, your chances of getting PR can increase significantly. So take time to evaluate your profile, identify areas for improvement, and plan your application strategically. Canada continues to be one of the most welcoming countries for immigrants, offering excellent healthcare, education, and career opportunities. But competition is also increasing, so preparation and awareness are key. If you are serious about moving to Canada, start working on your profile today. Improve your language scores, gather your documents, and stay updated with the latest immigration news. This could be your opportunity to secure a brighter future for yourself and your family. And remember, the earlier you start, the better your chances will be, because age and experience play a crucial role in your overall score. So don't delay, take action now, and move one step closer to your dream of becoming a permanent resident of Canada.